Sometimes we get stuck on the idea of being cool, of having the cool clothes or driving the cool car, or maybe having a lot of friends on the cool social media website. But I learned a lesson about cool a few years ago, and it surprised me, and I think it's going to surprise you too. You see, I was living in Boston at the time, and I was what they call a cool hunter. My job was to figure out, what are the trends in the city? What are people interested in? What are the words they're saying, or the stuff they're buying, or the places they're going? What's the cool restaurant? And so my job was to kind of scour the city and find things that were cool. And one day I had a new assignment. They wanted me to come up with 5 slang words, 5 phrases that people were saying on the streets, 5 new phrases in Boston. And then I would package those up. I'd write a little report up, maybe a page or 2, and then I'd send it to the company I worked for. And then they'd repackage it and they'd sell it to clothes manufacturers or TV stations or movie studios, and they'd say, this is what teenagers care about. We've studied the country, here's what they like. And so that day I worked on it, and I went on the subway and I listened to conversations, and I came up with 4 words that I really thought people were using, but I needed one more. And so that night I was sitting at my desk and I had an aloe plant in the corner, that cactus that grows with the thick leaves, and I started to think, I need another word, I'm stuck. I need another word, and then it hit me, aloe. I'll just tell them aloe's a word that people in Boston say. And I'll say, well, it means cool and refreshing. And I needed an example sentence. So I said, that girl has mad aloe. And then I emailed the report in. And I thought for sure they were going to laugh at me, that they'd respond and go, seriously? Stop making up these words. Nobody says aloe. I mean, that's ridiculous, right? I just made that up. It was from my desk. It was a plant. And about a week later, they sent out the results of these reports. You see, they have 10,000 trend hunters around the world, and they sent out this report, and they said, of all the words, there is one that you need to know. Wherever you live, this is the word that's going to be huge next season. Every teenager's going to be saying this. Can you guess what word they picked? Aloe. They even had my example sentence, that girl has mad aloe. And I realized that moment that cool is fictional. It's just made up. I mean, have you and your friends ever said that word aloe at school? Have you ever been like, my locker's feeling aloe today? Oh, that test was so not aloe. No, of course not. Why haven't you? Because cool is fake. It's fictional. It's made up. So as you walk through your day, as you walk through your year, and you get distracted by other people's definition of cool, don't fall for that. You get to determine it in your own life, in your own heart, what's really cool. You get to define your own aloe. So don't fall for that trap. You are the definition of cool.
And some of these ads have an unintended effect. They don't accomplish their purpose, do they? One of those examples, and it's kind of a little bit of the laughing stock of the ad world, is the Aflac duck. Everybody goes, Aflac, Aflac, and has no idea what the company does. There was another one that went broke. Aflac's open, obviously, but another one that went broke was pets.com. They had this really cool dog sock puppet. The dog sock puppet became like a cult following. As a matter of fact, he got other gigs on other commercials after pet.com went broke. The dog sock puppet was so effective that nobody had any idea what he was talking about. So sometimes this stuff doesn't work. Color matters when you're doing product positioning. Many years ago, when I first got in the real estate business at 18 years old, I worked for a company called ERA, Electronic Realtor Associates. And what they told us at that time was that the ugly orange on those signs, looks like the cones when you're going through traffic, you know the signs I'm talking about, was developed by a company called the Color College to create more possible reaction in your peripheral vision. Because ugly orange picks up in your peripheral vision more often than maybe a local real estate agent who didn't think when they put sign colors together, and they kind of put together sign colors that looked like trees, rocks, and grass. So their sign blends in. But if you're driving by and you get that sign, and signs have a lot to do with selling residential real estate, you got to see the sign. If you see that sign, that head turns, whoa, that's the one. But if you never see the sign because it blends in, it's a big deal. So right after ugly orange came out ugly yellow, Century 21. And they know it's ugly, they don't care, it works. And color is studied. Color is studied in packaging to follow your eye movement when you're looking at packaging. How do you work the package with your eyes? When you're looking at other things like shelf position, that's another. Everybody knows about shelf position, don't we? I mean, when you walk in, Wrigley's Gum figured this out. was out in Phoenix, Arizona, riding around with a friend of mine out there that's very wealthy, in a very wealthy end of town. He pointed up the wealthiest house in the wealthy end of town. He said, that's the Wrigley Mansion. Because they put little sticks of gum at the impulse point, the first people to ever do that in the grocery store. They call it on the shelf position. And nowadays in a grocery store or in a bookstore or in other things, you think those books on the front are necessarily the best? No. If I want my book on the front, I pay to put my book on the front. It's a bought shelf position. You want your Oreos on a shelf, you're going to pay if you're Nabisco to get the Oreo on a shelf in a certain place especially. And you don't want to be down here unless you're selling to the little kids. You want to be right up in here at eye level, and then you're creating color and process to get the attention so that we impulse on the Oreo. And then they lay, Wall Street Journal did a whole study of how they have the cameras up in the grocery stores. Grocery stores are some of the best merchandisers there are. And the cameras up are not to watch to see who's shoplifting a bag of Fig Newtons, okay? The cameras are studying how you walk the store. How do you work the store? How's your mind work? Because in the old days, in the 50s and 60s, you'd put the meat and the milk and the bread at the back. It was a simple idea. Those were basics. And to get to those, you had to walk past everything. And then you'd get that stuff, and they were hoping that you'd get something as you went out. Now they're more sophisticated than that. That stuff's still back there, but they've even tried all kinds of different designs of aisles, and you feel like a rat stuck in a labyrinth, don't you? Because they're making you work this store to let me out. They're walking you past as much product as possible because that causes sales. They don't kid around about this stuff. It's very, very, very real. I mean, if you go out there and you're going through the hard labor of pumping your gas, and it's a hot August day and things are bad. So now I'm going to go inside and pay because the pay at the pump thing's not working for some reason. Now I'm aggravated and I'm hot. And I walk in and there's one of these right in the middle of the floor. Now, it's very carefully designed in the floor plan on a chain set of markets. A local market may or may not be sophisticated, but a chain set of markets has an exact floor plan to put that thing in the iced cooler in the exact right spot. The exact right spot is not too much in the way, because if it's too much in the way, I'm already ticked now, I'm offended, right? If it's not enough in the way, I never see it, do I? So it's got to be right here so that I'm a little hot, I'm a little bit ready for some refreshment. Oh, there it is. Shelf position, the location in the floor plan. It's not an accident. And I walk in and I pick up a Mountain Dew and a piece of ice slides off the side and drops. And as I do, in my subconscious, I go off a tire swing into a creek. Walk up to the register and pay for this thing what I could have bought a case of them across the street for. This is not a game, is it? These guys are really, really good at what they do. Now today, I might not do a Mountain Dew, but I'd probably get me some good generic water, right? I tell you. Packaging is interesting too, isn't it? The way they package stuff, the design, the look and the feel of the package. All of these things are designed to have an impact on you. You have to be aware of it. Do you have to be freaked out about it and all paranoid and they're out to get us? No, they'll come get you with the butterfly net. That's not the idea. But they are very sophisticated, so we as consumers should at least be aware, shouldn't we? We should at least beware.